One first episode.
This is wild. We are live on 3 separate forms of media.
Got YouTube, Facebook rolling, and Instagram.
This is wild. So far, nobody is coming through. Looks like we may have somebody on YouTube. Somebody on there. But we're getting ready to we're going to focus on a few different topics today. The main ones we're going to look at are the main sports. We're going to look at the Browns off season, the NCAA tournament, which was a crazy one this year. We're also going to jump through to the NFL draft, talk about baseball season going on right now. Let's see what else. We'll do our way too early World Series predictions. That one is one that I am definitely excited for. We'll go through the Stanley Cup. Playoff bracket officially set last night, so this will be definitely interesting. I'll probably get a few haters.
I'm waiting for it, honestly. It's going to be a good one.
There's going to be a few haters getting at me on this one, but it's okay. And we'll close things off talking about the NBA. And, so to introduce ourselves, I'm Michael Cockrell.
I'm Michael Knogle.
And this is the first installment of Hardtime Sports with Mike and Mike. Pleasure to be here, hopefully, live inside the Kent State Student Center. Because we
live from Kent, Ohio.
We didn't want any distractions. So,
right.
Well, Mike, first thing I want to ask you is, what did you think about the tournament this year?
Well, obviously, busted brackets first round. First off, I'm never good at brackets. I hate them. But, you got to do them for the fun.
Absolutely.
So, biggest problem, Chicago coming out of nowhere.
Loyola Chicago, good old Sister Jean.
Oh, my God. Virginia losing, that's what killed everyone's bracket, basically. Anyone from there is just gone.
A lot of people are running around saying that this is the first time a 16 has ever beaten a 1, which is true in men's basketball. Don't cut out the credit on the women's side.
You're right.
A long time ago, huge upset. So don't count that out, but you've got to give UMBC credit. What an outstanding game to face the pressure of being a school that a lot of people didn't even know existed, and to come out here and play Virginia, who was the odds-on favorite, number 1 seed rolling through.
And one of the most consistent teams in the world.
Absolutely. And to come on out and just dominate. It wasn't like you get those NCAA tournament upsets with the buzzer beaters, the half-court shot. They dominated this game.
Ran the game, start to finish. It's the worst for it, honestly. Like you can't even write that up as because when you think of the 16 being a 1, it's like, all right, well, here comes a buzzer beater that should never have happened.
Exactly.
But then they're like, all right, cool.
Well, don't forget also on the fact that in the first round we had 2 13s win.
Right.
Okay. So we had Marshall definitely pull off an upset. And then, who was the other one now? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I got the tournament.
Don't really pay attention.
I'm struggling. Struggling already.
Other 13.
The other 3. Oh, Buffalo busted my bracket with Arizona. That's right.
Another consistent team.
And
another.
The other 2 13s only lost by 4 points respectively.
Right.
So if you think about it, that's 13-4 matchups where all 4 of those games could have gone the 13's way.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it's something with the way that the seeding is going, or is it just we're counting out these young gun teams who are coming in here and are making an impact?
Personally, I think it's just the underdog attitude coming out in everyone. I mean, come on, Super Bowl, you have everyone's Patriots, all Patriots. And then Philadelphia, the team everyone counted out at the beginning of the season.
Well, especially when Wentz went down.
Right. After Wentz went down, no one believed it at all, except maybe Lindo. Still
shout out to Lindo.
But it's just an underdog attitude coming out in every team and every league at this point.
Shout out to Jay Coleman too, sending us the eagle emojis on Instagram Live. The 2 Eagles fans, man,
rolling.
But now, okay. So let's look. There were 2 wild finishes. Now, Houston was a team that I underrated in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And for anybody who was watching that San Diego State game, at the end of that was absolutely amazing. Shout out to Taylor for leaving the room for half hour. I don't remember what she was doing, but I got to change the channel to watch Houston pull off that crazy upset. Or not the upset, but the crazy ending.
Right.
And also, they had another one against Michigan, and then Michigan pulls up that half-court shot, and now Michigan rides that momentum all the way to the title. Unfortunately for them, getting dominated by far the best team in the tournament, Villanova.
Right.
And, we were sitting there at the bar, and we're watching this national championship game, and DiVincenzo just
went off. Gone.
Where did this kid come from? I mean, you could see Alabama. When I watched the game where they played us in the second round, I couldn't believe the fact of how much that kid just exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was the shooting, it was the driving, it was defensive intensity. The kid really put on a show.
Well, it's like, what they say, big-time players, big-time plays, big-time situations. You hear Trae Young all through the season, nothing in playoffs.
Right,
exactly. Nothing come postseason tournament. Nothing. Then you hear all DiVincenzo, and everyone's like, who is this kid?
Exactly.
Where'd he come from?
Well, and we'll hear a lot. We'll actually be talking about Trae Young later on in our NBA segment, but we're gonna hold off on that. But if you've got different, you just watched this tournament and you couldn't pick a team. Like my national championship on the onset was Michigan State against Arizona, and I thought straight up Bridges, what was the other kid's name? Jackson, which was, the other kid, the freshman from Michigan State. I thought they were going to ride this momentum all the way. You've got a blue blood, amazing program in Michigan State, and they face a blue blood program in Syracuse who made it in the last four, and Syracuse ends up taking down Michigan State, and then Arizona losing in the first round to Buffalo. It's March, baby. That's all we can
This is
say.
by far the best March Madness I've been alive for. So.
And shout out to Rhode Island once again. They always pick me up, man, when I see them playing, and I always pick them in the first round, and Rhode Island comes out, and they just always in that first round. But now let's look at the more important things. March Madness is gone.
Right.
Closing in on the draft. NFL free agency just passed. What do you think about the Browns' moves?
Ridiculous. The best thing I've seen since is someone on Twitter going, somebody like high up in the Browns watched the movie Draft Day and thought, let's do it. This is possible. Genius.
Tyrod Taylor. Okay.
Right. But my only problem with that is you picked up
Tanner, I am not allowing you in our live video. Please get out of here. But what do you think of Tyrod?
My problem with it is you had RG3, and I'd compare him to Tyrod Taylor, skill and set wise, like what they do. Like, you think of them, you're not thinking, it's a passing quarterback. You think of him more as like he's going to run the ball.
And that's an understandable thing when you watch Tyrod. He definitely at times seems to have those happy feet where he's like, okay, I've got a little bit of pressure. Rather than stand in the pocket and shift in the pocket, he tries to cut and run right away.
That's what I'm saying is like, RG3 did that. He'd like to run the ball, but, they got rid of him. He wasn't doing anything. So the question is, with Tyrod Taylor, will they change up the idea they have and try to convert the way he plays and keep him in the pocket more, or let him run around a little bit?
Definitely think a big thing to look at, though, is while I was getting ready, I was looking up statistics because for any Browns fan who has sat through this season, we always would get excited. We'd be in the great game, and all of a sudden – we're in the red zone thinking, okay, DeShone Kizer's the guy. He led us down the field. We've got Duke out of the backfield. This is great. And he turns the ball over.
Let me tell you what. I work security at home for the home games for Kent State rugby team. And they working security. I was in the dog pound for the Tennessee Titans game. And sitting there watching just field goals go back and forth, the most annoying thing ever. You're like, oh, red zone, here we go. One team has to score to win this game, and neither team could pull that off. Oh, my Lord. It was the most frustrating. I'm not even a Browns fan, but that was the most annoying thing I've ever seen.
And the thing is it's crazy to look at the statistics. DeShone Kizer in the red zone, inside the 20-yard line, 8 touchdowns, which is decent, but 6 picks. He had 9 fumbles throughout the year. Granted, he had 5 rushing touchdowns. But as a rookie trying to come in and show that I can be the franchise guy, when you get a tag like that to jump in, you can't be turning the ball over in the red zone so much. And now he's a backup in Green Bay behind one of probably the best quarterbacks in the league because he failed to show that he could run it on his own.
Yeah, bingo. That's right.
Talk about how Juju knocked perfect on his expletive.
I mean, being a Pittsburgh fan, it's a beautiful thing to see Burfict get knocked out. Like, if you're a Pittsburgh fan and you watch that, you weren't off your seat just screaming, you're not a fan.
Listen, I wasn't even a Pittsburgh fan. I hate Pittsburgh. I hate the Bengals. I hate the Ravens. But I'll tell you what, watching Burfict get knocked out, granted, everybody talks about how it was dirty and all this stuff, but Burfict has shown time and time again that he is a dirty player in the league.
Right.
And for Juju, a wide receiver, to knock him over and stand
a rookie
over
wide receiver.
To stand over top
dirty.
of him. Shout out to Billy, my boy from home, checking in on the ride home. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Do you think Tyrod is a potential franchise guy for the Browns, or are you buying in on this bridge quarterback?
I really don't know. I mean, like, watching him in Buffalo, you saw like he was clearly the better quarterback compared to Peterman.
Shout out to Peterman.
Pit alum. Dude could not show up at all during the time he was in. But then like you could blame it on like, oh, well, it was like first time jitters. No, screw that. He was not made to be in that position at all. And Tyrod Taylor shouldn't have been out. If option whatever should not have been.
If we look at the other additions that the Browns have made, being a Browns fan,
that's the biggest impact.
Sadly, through my father raising me in Cleveland, shout out to Dad if he ends up watching this. We had Jarvis Landry, Tyrod Taylor, Carlos Hyde. Do we win more than 4 games this year? I have our schedule.
Right.
If you're interested.
All right, let's see the schedule real quick.
These dates aren't set yet. Still don't know the dates for the NFL. We just know opponents. But we'll be playing at home against Atlanta, and then a home and away with Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh as well.
Right.
We're at home against Carolina, home against Kansas City.
Well, Chiefs are a hit or miss.
Home against the Chargers.
Right.
Home against the Jets. And then at Denver, at Houston, at New Orleans, at Oakland, and at Tampa. Do you see more than 5 wins on the schedule?
A lot of potential for it, honestly. I mean, Chiefs are a hit or miss team every year. Sometimes they show up early in the season and just fall off. What else we got here? The Jets, it's the Jets. I mean, come on. You either tank or you go for it. Take the tank. All right. But when it's a team in like the AFC North, like the Bengals and stuff like that, you play them as competitive as possible. You could be like, Browns and Steelers. Like, it doesn't matter your record at that point. You're going to play each other tougher than everyone else on the schedule because you guys are in the same conference. So just going down, there's a chance at more than 5.
Jaden coming in here with his Vikings expertise after signing Kirk Cousins. Got lucky last year in that New Orleans game.
Well, what's shocking is Keenum takes them that far, and they're like, all right, you're out of here, Keenum.
Yeah.
It's like, you did good, but you're out.
We're going to bring in Kirk Cousins. Right? We're going to let Kirk Cousins run the show. All right.
You like that?
My honest prediction right now, and this is pre-draft. We got to see what they're going to do in the draft. I still think there's a lot of holes that need fixed. The one thing I'm interested to see is if they go a DB route at all, and, what are they going to do with Jabril Peppers? Because a lot of times last year, Greg Williams had him so far back that he seemed to be out of the play.
Right.
And there were issues where, that's not his playmaking ability. And if you're going to go back into the first round and get this guy with your pick last year after you take Myles Garrett one,
right,
you have to find a way for him to, play to his strengths. And if you don't have that, then he's not going to be the Jabril Peppers that was at Michigan, who was such a difference maker. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things I'm still interested to see. But right now, looking at this schedule, if you take where we are right now, I'm seeing maybe a 6-10. And my issue with the 6-10, I'm not trying to oversell. I'm not trying to undersell.
Well, I understand you don't want the winning season, but you're at least hoping for some wins to get it started.
I'm trying to get some momentum in Cleveland.
Exactly. Just
try to get the fans alive, because everybody keeps talking about, the Giants want 2 picks for Odell Beckham. We have 1 and 4. Let's get Odell and Jarvis together, and this would be absolutely insane.
It would be insane.
No. It's not going to happen. If the Browns did that, then the Browns would just be, oh, here, take everything, because it's not going to change, what.
Because at the same time, do you trust Odell with the injury streak he's been going?
Exactly. That is
you really can.
Speaking of draft, let's dive into it.
All right, let's do it.
We have quarterbacks. We have a ridiculous amount of quarterbacks coming out in this draft. We've got Josh Allen out of Wyoming, Sam Darnold, USC, Josh Rosen, UCLA, your favorite, Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma. And one of my personal sleepers definitely is Lamar Jackson out of Louisville.
Right.
So my first question I'm going to ask you is, does Lamar make it as an NFL quarterback at all?
Well, I mean, we saw it with Cam Newton.
You're right.
The dude can run the ball, a dual threat. Could Lamar Jackson be the same thing? But in my opinion, Lamar Jackson's a lot smaller, like weight size,
absolutely,
than Cam Newton. Doesn't have as much muscle, but at the same time, Lamar Jackson's throwing some shifty ass things out of Louisville.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If he's at the right place with the right core around him, you could potentially bring the option to the NFL, but at the same time, we've seen how the option works in the NFL.
Exactly.
It's not the greatest thing, but Carolina busted out every once in a while. Like Cam Newton had, a 70-yard option this year?
Yes.
Ridiculous,
yes, yes.
So, it works every once in a while, but it's not going to be like where you could be like Army and win games just strictly option.
And now with that, do you think Lamar – because my personal opinion is I think Lamar Jackson could make it.
Right,
but
no doubt.
He's not ready right now, clearly. So if you're a team late in the first round, like New England, like, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, do you have somebody draft him and then sit behind one of these veteran leaders? Because that's what I would do.
Right.
And you have him learn more of the pro style. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then if it's that, his best fit would be Carolina, pick up a backup. Because Cam Newton's been the guy for how long? Could it potentially be one of the things like maybe Cam Newton's coming down? Right. But it's Auburn, so of course you do. I mean,
absolutely.
So, I mean, honestly, you can't really picture him anywhere else, Lamar Jackson, besides like Carolina, where they do incorporate a running option every once in a while.
You'll see in my mock, I think the opposite. The best thing about the draft is you get these guys who come out of nowhere. And I know me personally, one guy that I'm really looking at, compare and contrast Lamar Jackson to Deshaun Watson. No, Deshaun Watson sucks.
Different.
The one thing I'm looking at is we've got some linebackers hanging around the top 10. So I'm just going to throw out my top 10 mock here.
Right.
At Oakland, I've got Raekwon Smith, the outside linebacker from Georgia. For anybody who watches SEC football, he was a guy who was all over the place, running all over, couldn't, sideline to sideline, could coverage and play in coverage, stuff like that. San Francisco at 9, I've got him taking that Marcus Davenport, the defensive end out of University of Texas, San Antonio, I believe is the school he's from. Very small school, comes to the combine, comes in everything, destroys. Mayock, all those guys have him blowing up the boards. I think he'd be a huge pass rusher. And think about it. When San Francisco was successful, it was defense. Now they've got a decent offense lining up with Garoppolo. Now you bring in Jerick McKinnon. You have Hyde leave.
Right.
And stuff like that. So what if, you have start bolstering back up that defense. You had that defensive pass rush that was, with Aldon Smith, Justin Smith, and you bring in a guy like him. That's huge in my opinion. Chicago at 8, Denzel Ward, Ohio State product. Great shutdown corner. Their offense is kind of flowing in a little bit of the right direction too. You got the franchise guy in Trubisky, stuff like that. So maybe scoot over to the defensive side because they really didn't do anything on defense last year. But that's okay. 7, I've got one of my favorite players in the draft, and it's not just because he went to Alabama, but it's Minkah Fitzpatrick. If you watch this guy, he's a ranger. Mm-hmm. He can shut you down one-on-one as a corner. He can play in the box. And, anything like that, he's all over. He's a deep center fielder at safety. Will we be discussing the latest Truck Series race today? We will not. We will not be. I'm going to try to shy away from NASCAR because I feel like a lot of fans won't get into that with us. But moving up to 6, I have a trade. The Colts already traded back from 3 to 6 with the Jets.
Yeah.
But I think Buffalo now with those 2 first-round picks is going to jump up to 6 with the Colts. And I think they're going to go up to draft Josh Rosen, who falls. Josh Rosen it's not really character issues with Rosen, but when you have your college coach coming out and talking about stuff like that, and all of that going on, all that hype, and you're a California kid, you think you've got it all, right. You think you're ready, but there's still some issues. But I'm not going to say it's only character, because I have another guy here going in the top 5 with character issues as well. But at 5, I've got another trade. Got Arizona coming up with Denver. And Arizona needs a quarterback. Carson Palmer's done. He's not the guy. Stanton goes and signs.
What about Denver?
Denver got Case Keenum.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and everything I've been seeing is Denver saying Case Keenum's our guy right now. So we'll let them ride the Case Keenum train a little bit, But I really think that Arizona's going to jump up and draft Josh Allen out of Wyoming.
Which would be a power move for them in general.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're going to have a Southwest Desert team come on up and draft a kid out of the boondocks of Wyoming.
Right.
But Allen's got the talent. He just needs a little coaching. And I think he could get that in Arizona. And you sit behind Carson Palmer, who, sorry, Bengals fans, could never get it done in the playoffs. Couldn't even get it done in the playoffs in Arizona. But the guy is probably one of the best quarterbacks, I wouldn't say to ever play the game, but he's a great guy to learn behind. And I think that would be huge.
It's kind of the whole Tony Romo thing. Like, you could sit behind him. Doesn't get much done, towards the end of his career. But, just watching him do, play analysis, absolutely insane.
Yeah, that shows the mindset of a quarterback.
Garoppolo was behind Tom Brady and then took it himself to a different team. Mm-hmm. Wild. Absolutely. So if you can get behind a veteran quarterback and get that one young player to actually stick to it, you have a championship season somewhere behind it.
And I really think Josh Allen is that guy. I really do. I got a little bit of a shock here at 4. Right now, I'm still riding the Saquon Barkley to Cleveland train. I don't think the Giants want a running back. I know they're really lacking one, but this is a very deep running back draft. And I think they can get a decent one towards the end, second round, stuff like that.
So who do you have the Giants taking too?
Well, at 2, I have the Giants taking Chubb from North Carolina State. They need a pass rusher. They're losing their defensive line as well. But before we jump to 2, let's look at 3. The New York Jets traded with the Indianapolis Colts to jump from 6 to 3. Mm-hmm. Why? Quarterback.
Yeah, of course. It's the Jets.
Exactly. The Jets will be riding the Baker Mayfield train. And here's why.
Which is, it's predicted around place. And it's exactly. A fair point.
And a lot of people are discussing it. But I truly think that if you look at Baker Mayfield, he's another guy who, that dude was a winner.
Right.
He was a 4-year captain.
And he earned everything he got.
Exactly. Walked on to Texas Tech.
Got it.
Didn't like it. Left. Walked on at Oklahoma. College football playoff twice. Heisman Trophy. I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan as a whole.
Right.
But Baker Mayfield as a football player, that's a different story. And you're a fan, so what do you think?
Well, I think if you Jets taking Baker Mayfield, that just brings the whole attitude change at the Jets. Sorry, they get a whole attitude change at the Jets. They have a guy who can potentially be one of the biggest leaders on the field, and give him the couple of years, he'll be an even bigger leader. And if he stays healthy, stays on the work ethic he's on, and studies the film, does everything he's supposed to. I mean, people are predicting him to be a Johnny Manziel and get his way out on his own.
Absolutely.
But I think he has a lot more to himself than what Johnny Manziel did. Granted, he is the one who does want to make the comeback. We can get back in that later. I just feel like Baker
threw a touchdown in the spring football game the other day. Johnny Manziel is coming back, everybody.
I just feel that Baker Mayfield can just change the Jets' offense around, and if he sticks with it, he can be a great leader and potentially be a top 10 quarterback in the next 4 to 5 years.
The leadership that you see from Mayfield on the field is just outstanding.
It's a whole attitude change every time.
Outstanding leadership. And then 1 is the one that everybody's predicting. I don't like it, but I'm going for accuracy right now.
Right.
and it's Sam Darnold #1 to the Browns. I don't want Darnold as a Browns fan.
Right.
Watching, I am an Alabama fan, but I'm also an Ohio State fan, my family. Watching that Cotton Bowl and how loose he is with the football scares me when we just had a quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser.
I mean, you pulled up the stats already.
Exactly. And the stats are atrocious.
Right.
And it's that on top of it. Like, why?
Especially against in the AFC North, where it's a whole rushing defense anytime you play a team in that 4.
And Deshaun Kaiser had 22 interceptions on 11 touchdowns last year. So take those 22 interceptions and then add 9 fumbles. But now you're bringing in a guy in college who had just as many turnovers.
Right.
Where does it stop? We're the Browns. We're trying to rebuild this organization, so we don't have another parade.
Celebrating an 0-16 season.
To talk about an 0-16 season. Let's see, what do we got in the comments going on? Everybody talking about. Oh, we got Brady Quinn greater than Sam Darnold.
Allen's not impressive.
That's okay. He has a cannon with great accuracy and has amazing potential. All right, Jake. Jake and Seabass are going at it. But let's move on now from football.
All right.
Baseball season is upon us.
This is your thing.
This is
you. This is all you.
This is my topic. It's crazy. Hayden, Hart, Butters, and myself were just at the Indians game yesterday to celebrate Hayden's birthday. Mm-hmm. Shout out. Happy birthday again, buddy. 22. You're getting old. But think about it. The last 3 games that me and Hayden have been to have been Yan Gomes walk-offs. Last year, the Rockies game, he hit a 2-run home run. Playoff game against the Yankees, Frankie Lindor hits that grand slam to bring us back, and then Yan Gomes ends up hitting the walk-off double.
While chanting Yan Gomes.
And yesterday, we're sitting here in the top of the 9th, and we go, oh, my God, Yan Gomes.
After the Yodel Boy.
After the Walmart Yodel Boy remix came on in the stadium. But Hayden and I looked at each other, and we go, oh, my gosh, Yan Gomes is going to come up with a chance to walk off again. And so, as we always do, we start chanting Yan Gomes sucks because of something that happened with video games. And what does Yan Gomes do? 2-run walk-off home run to win. I don't know how to write a better script than that as a Cleveland Indians season ticket holder and a fan. That chanting that somebody sucks. Exactly. You could write a 30 for 30 on it. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Yankees.
Right.
They bring in Giancarlo Stanton. So now you have Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez. Outstanding 3 power hitters.
Right.
That's not enough. I'm not sold on the Yankees.
Have you seen Stanton?
I have seen Stanton.
16 strikeouts in a week.
I have his stats in case you were wondering.
All right, here we go.
10 games so far for Giancarlo Stanton. He has 42 at-bats, 7 hits, 3 home runs, but 20 strikeouts.
It's like the Pedro Alvarez of the Pirates.
Pedro Alvarez of the Pirates.
You come up, you're either striking out or homering. If you don't homer, everyone's pissed.
It's just blowing my mind that everybody is so dead set on the Yankees are going. The Yankees are going. The Yankees. Mm-hmm. What about their pitching? I don't get. You can't make it in professional baseball without pitching.
Right.
Now, last year's World Series was a fluke, in my opinion. You had 2 great teams that could hit the ball like crazy, and then you had great pitching teams as well, and it was just a slugfest.
Solid field, too.
Exactly. But why? I don't see that consistently happening.
Right.
So let's look at their pitching. Right now, they're decent. They're 7th in ERA right now throughout the year. But I'm not afraid of these names. We have Severino, Tanaka, who, okay, I can get a little scared of Tanaka sometimes. Those guys are filthy. Then you have Sonny Gray, who the Indians beat up in the playoffs. You have CC Sabathia, who is 400 pounds and 60 years old. And that's saying something because CC Sabathia is one of my top 5 favorite Indians ever.
Right.
I used to wear my hat in baseball to the side because of CC Sabathia. So I'm not afraid of him at all right now. And then Montgomery's just he's a guy who's just kind of one of those throw it over the plate kind of guys.
Mhm.
I'm not scared of the Yankees. One guy I am scared of is Ohtani. Now, how many times do we have Japanese players come overseas and they're all hyped up and they have nothing? They don't perform.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where that happens.
Not everyone can be Ichiro.
Not everybody can be Ichiro. Shout out to Ichiro, man. That dude is still out
I don't
there.
understand
That
how,
dude is
but,
still
like-
out there. He robbed a home run against my Indians in the opening series. That man is still going. But
Is he like a LeBron?
I don't know. Is he a LeBron? LeBron,
But he's also like not talked about at the top every year.
he needs to
But
be
he's
talked
just
about right
old
now.
and he's still awesome.
He
Like,
needs to be talked about right
right.
now. Big thing with Ohtani. Let's just look at this guy's stats. So he's a pitcher and he DHs,
Right.
which is crazy. You don't really see that anymore. Connor Babe Ruth was Japanese. Get out of here, Connor. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. But if we look at Ohtani's numbers, let's look at hitting first.
Right.
18 at-bats, 4 home runs, 7 hits. Or I'm sorry. I take that back. 3 home runs, 4 runs, 7 hits, 7 RBIs. Has only struck out 4 times. Okay. 389 batting average with an 889 slugging percentage and a 1310 OPS.
He almost sounds better than Stanton.
He's definitely having a better start than Stanton.
It's a great start, honestly.
But then you think, okay, maybe I'm hitting the ball all this time. I can't focus on my pitching. Ohtani 2-0 pitching, 2.08 ERA in 13 innings pitched in 2 starts, 4 hits, 18 strikeouts, and a .093 batting average against. He had a perfect game going into the 7th yesterday. This guy could be legit. So everybody watch out. This guy could be legit. You add him with Mike Trout. If they add anybody else to that lineup, get more power, all of that, the Angels could become something very,
Right.
very serious. Okay, you're not a huge baseball guy.
Right.
But do you have a way too early World Series prediction for us?
I don't think so. I really don't. Like,
last year we had Houston and the Dodgers.
Right.
Both still very good. Think it's a chance for them to go again?
I don't think the Dodgers.
You do not think the Dodgers will go again? What about the Astros? Do they have a chance to repeat? Seabass wants to know.
I think they have the chance, but they're not gonna.
They're not
This
gonna.
is baseball. They're not.
Oh,
I think because every year it's different. Every sport, new guys, bigger guys, tons of trades. I'm not predicting the Yankees are going. Definitely not. No. Pirates aren't going. Pittsburgh fan, but the Pirates suck. They're the Pirates. They're just a laughing stock at this point. I don't know. I should really start watching more baseball, honestly.
I'm gonna make you watch some baseball.
Right. We're gonna have to at this point.
I'm just gonna throw mine out there. And it's not a homer prediction. I promise you. I was at Game 7 of the World Series. The heartbreak that I had to face watching all those Cubs fans celebrate on our field. I don't think it's going to happen again. I really think this is the year. Now, right now, our bats are slow.
Right.
That always happens in the cold weather. If you play in Cleveland, no, you should freaking get used to it, but they don't. But I seriously believe the Indians will make it back because of their pitching. And I think it's going to be tough because they're going to have to play the Astros, the Red Sox, the Yankees. Those guys are all dominant when you look at their rosters. On the other side, I am going to take the Dodgers going back. I think the only team that I'm scared of in the other side would be the Giants. San Francisco always seems to pull something and go out with something. So I'm actually going to predict that the San Francisco Giants will beat the Dodgers in 7 games in the National League Championship Series, and then will beat the Indians in 5 games in the World Series. And one reason only. Andrew McCutcheon.
Oh,
Shout out to all you
God.
Pirates
No
fans.
way,
You
no.
enjoy that. Andrew McCutcheon is going to lead the San Francisco Giants to a World Series title. He's going to leave Pittsburgh and win the World Series without you guys. I am calling it now. It is April 9th, 6:05 p.m., and I'm calling it now. We're done with baseball.
Oh,
I'm in the mood to
Lord.
piss off more Pittsburgh fans. Let's talk about the Stanley Cup. Let's talk about the Stanley
You're all
Cup.
about the losing players of Pittsburgh. All right.
Unfortunately, my Blackhawks are not in the playoffs. So I had to pick another team to win this thing all. Okay? I'm going to go right through the bracket if you want to predict with me. First round matchups will just start. We have Nashville versus Colorado. Nashville, easily.
Right.
Colorado, I'm sorry if there's any Avalanche fans out there, which I'm sure there probably aren't watching this. But
to go open up.
It's Nashville. Nashville has been outstanding all year. Next one, Winnipeg against Minnesota. I'm going to take Winnipeg. I'm going to take the Jets. I think they could ride a little bit of momentum here and get into here, take out Minnesota, and ride it just to the next round and nowhere farther.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Vegas, my team. I am rooting so hard for Vegas.
It would be a beautiful story, honestly. Coming out of their expansion draft, winning it, that'd be ridiculous.
I have them beating the Kings in the first round.
That's understandable. I can get behind that.
Now, Anaheim against San Jose. I'm taking the Sharks. Taking my dad's team.
There you go.
I'm going to take the San Jose Sharks to take out the Ducks. I'm sensing a Colorado upset. Nashville did the same thing to Chicago. Listen, no, we don't need to talk about Chicago blowing it last year or whatever. They always blow it anymore. It's just a joke, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Sean. Ultimately, I have the conference finals coming down to Nashville and Vegas, and I'm taking the Golden Knights. I am taking the Vegas Golden Knights to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. And on the other side, they're going to play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is going to go back to the finals. It's a thing. They have to play Philly, who Philly can't keep up.
Right.
There's one team in Pennsylvania, and it's the Pens. Nobody cares about the Flyers. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Nobody cares about the Flyers. Okay? The next round they play Washington.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Washington. Ovechkin
But
can't
it's the
beat Crosby.
You're right. Yeah, good point. It's always the Caps and the Pens. And there's always they just play each other rough.
It comes down to the same thing every time. So then I've got Pitt going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, if it came down to Vegas and Pitt, who are you taking?
I got to go with my Pens again.
Can I take the Pens for the three-peat?
Of course, yeah.
Why?
It's my home team at this point. I mean, like I said, dude, I'm all about just gut feelings, and loyalty through my teams. Except the Pirates. I'm sorry, I cannot stay loyal to that team. But I'll have to root for Pittsburgh no matter what. And I mean, I understand the Knights. They can make this run like no other. But I just feel like the Pittsburgh offense is definitely way more stacked. It is just in their favor to go 3-peat. That's how I see it.
All right.
I'll ride the 3-peat train for the rest of my life.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I am believing.
This is where everyone gets pissed, right?
I am believing in the Vegas Golden Knights, and I have reasons.
Well, first off, let me tell you, it would be dirty as hell
for
Fleury to win. Against his whole team.
Get sent away from Pittsburgh in the expansion draft, get picked up by Vegas, and then beat Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals. Talk about that. Well, and Fleury is one of my reasons, actually, why I'm going to say that Vegas will do it.
Right.
You need veteran leadership in the goal. You need a veteran goaltender. And what better than a guy who's been there? They have a guy who has been there, who has won there.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. Oh, my God.
Spilly really said that the Kings would win it all over the Pens. I turned it off. All right. Well, you know what? That's fine. You guys go ahead. My team's not in it. I had to find someone else. But let me give my reasonings.
All right.
Vegas beat the record for most wins in an inaugural season with 32 games left in the season.
Right.
32 games in the season. That's definitely a big thing. And like I said, the veteran leadership, you have James Neal and you have Marc-Andre Fleury. That's a huge game right there, having that veteran power.
Both Pittsburgh guys.
Yep, exactly. They had the longest home point streak, most home wins, and most road wins, and most points by by a respected team that started from scratch. And
it would be the biggest middle finger to Pittsburgh at this point.
Well, and this team
It'd be
is
awesome.
This team is wearing their hearts on their sleeves too.
Right.
The tragedy that happened in Vegas, retiring the number 58 jersey for the 58 victims who lost their lives in that. I think the city of Vegas not having a team now, and it's riding that momentum into the playoffs.
Kind of like Houston riding last year.
Exactly. I just think that there's something can go on there. And they're the first. I didn't even finish that note. Okay. But I'm taking Vegas. Last segment, we had a lot of people asking about the NBA playoffs. We're not there yet. We're not set in stone with the brackets. But right now we've got, let's see, we're looking at the East. Toronto 1, Boston 2. Those are set. Philadelphia just jumped for the 3 seed over Cleveland. Then Indiana at 5. Miami 6, Milwaukee 7, Washington 8 as of now. Those 8 teams are set in the playoffs.
Right.
Are there any of those teams that you think could make a run from the bottom half?
So at 5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah. Indiana, Miami, Milwaukee, or Washington.
Washington with John Wall has potential, honestly. I mean, how many times did they beat the Cavs this year?
It's been a decent amount.
Yeah, it's been a decent amount.
The only reason they didn't beat us the other night was because LeBron went ridiculous in the fourth quarter.
Milwaukee has their chance, yes, but I don't think Giannis is going to be the one to get it done as one player.
Doesn't have enough help.
Pacers aren't doing bad, honestly. I mean, no. Honestly, if Washington does it, that would be the team to do it. Even though they're number 8, that would definitely be the choice. I mean, LeBron's going to find his way to the finals regardless of anything. They do it every year. And Boston without Kyrie, not going very far. That's gonna be the rough part.
That's where I was. I lost whatever happened, with Kyrie being gone. It was over. That was the end of it. Boston can't do anything, I don't think, without Kyrie. I'm looking strictly because the Cavs can't do anything because LeBron can't do it alone. If you look strictly at that last game against the 76ers, LeBron had 44, 11, and 11. Right. Jeff Green came out of nowhere and dropped 33 points. Kevin Love had 17, 9, and 4. This is the rest of the point totals for everybody else on the team. 4, 7, 4, 8, 6, 5, 2. He doesn't have the cast. Even if for some reason he makes it to the NBA Finals, he will not beat whatever team comes out of the West, and I think the team out of the West is going to be the Houston Rockets.
Right. That's definitely – yeah. And the Rockets and Thunder are going to go somewhere. Have to.
It's going to be interesting. I think James Harden and the Rockets can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I look at the West, and it strictly comes down to Houston or Golden State, in my opinion.
And when Houston hasn't lost to Golden State this year.
And I just – right? I'm not sure.
I don't think Houston's lost to Golden State.
I did not look up those stats. I looked up stats on everything else except for that. Wow.
Houston definitely is taking this one.
And the main reason why I'm rooting for Houston is because Chris Paul.
Oh,
I want Chris Paul to get a ring. He deserves it. He's been on some really bad teams, and I think it's a big difference for him to jump in there with the talent that he's got. The shooting on that team is outstanding. And I really think Houston's got it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Well, any closing remarks?
Let's do one more.
What are we doing?
NBA MVP. If we're talking about
that's LeBron. That's LeBron. Get out of here. That's LeBron.
I mean,
That's LeBron.
James Harden made the point last year. Winning should be the thing, right? Understandable. LeBron is his 15th season, and he's still somehow dominating the league. Amazing. But could it be they pity it and go, you know what, James Harden, we'll give you a little one.
I'm taking LeBron. I'm going all in on the LeBron basket. I mean, the way that he has just dominated throughout this entire year. I mean, the dude is dropping 44, 11, and 11 against guys guarding him who are 15 years
and late season
younger than in the end of the year. And the dude hasn't been taking those dumb rest games that everybody knocked him for.
Which is sickening. It's absurd.
Everybody has knocked him for resting and taking those days off and all of that going on. And he literally now is not doing it, putting up ridiculous numbers at the end of the year, and you're still not going to give him the MVP. Granted, LeBron probably doesn't care. LeBron worries about rings.
Right.
But everything he hears is just, it's not, he's doing what people wanted. And he's still not going to get the recognition and the love. And I think that's where the mistake comes. I saw Tanner ask for Rookie of the Year. I'm riding the Donovan Mitchell train. A lot of people are saying Ben Simmons, but Donovan Mitchell is single-handedly carrying the Utah Jazz to the playoffs. What do you think?
Good point. Yeah, I mean, like you said, with Ben Simmons being on the Sixers, he also had the help from Joel Embiid how many times?
Right.
That's the big talk is Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. It's not just Ben Simmons. It's both of them.
Well, and then they got Markelle Fultz back. There are pieces. They've got J.J. Redick. They have Robert Covington. But I bet you couldn't name me more than 3 players on the Utah Jazz.
You're right. Can't.
Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles.
And none of them are talked about.
Exactly.
Maybe whenever Gordon Hayward was there, but besides that,
Donovan Mitchell, Rookie of the Year.
That's fair.
I'm dead set. Any other closing remarks?
I think that's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
We'd like to thank everybody who listened in. It's definitely a good thing for us to finally get out here and do this. We know we announced it about 2 months ago. There's been a lot of stuff going on. We really appreciate the support. Again, please give us feedback if there's something that you didn't like, something more that we should talk about. You have any idea that what we should talk about next week? That would definitely be a good thing. I believe next week we'll be having a guest appearance by the one and only Tanner Saxton. That will be an interesting one, having Tanner Saxton. Definitely somebody
can't wait for that one now.
will probably come in and get heated. Hopefully he doesn't throw anything at any buses and, get arrested like Conor McGregor, but that's okay. Yeah, definitely leave us comments. Any things you guys would want us to talk about it. Yes, Tanner, you're coming on the next show. I was going to talk to you about it tonight. Thanks for showing us your loyalty. You keep asking for it. So, Sean, I really didn't like Spilly's Stanley Cup prediction. That's fine. I'm not going to get it right. Odds are Pittsburgh's going to win it again.
This is what we're here for.
How many times is Skip Bayless wrong? How many times is Stephen A. Smith wrong? Colin Cowherd. I mean, you look at these guys, it's, you know what? Whatever. I'm just taking a shot in the dark out here. Follow us on our social media. We do have the YouTube page as well as the Instagram and the Facebook.
We will have a Twitter coming out soon.
And you will see that. Thank you, Hayden, for saying Alabama sucks. I'll go wear my 17 national championship rings now. And Jake Coleman, War Eagle, go home. OHIO. I still root for Ohio State, just not when they play Alabama. Yeah, definitely follow us on social media. Not sure if we'll be doing Facebook Live or the Instagram Live next time. Definitely sit there with the YouTube channel. If you need the link, contact me or Mikey. We will send it over to you. And I don't know.
I think we're good.
Awesome. 49-minute first segment. It was a pleasure, guys. Stay tuned for next week. And please, please, please send us more of our topics or criticism or anything. Questions, whatever you want. We will be talking. Also, wait, one last thing. The Masters. Ooh. Tiger Woods is done. That's it. I'm done. Tiger Woods is done. You guys have a great evening. Thank you very much for sticking with us live today.